episode 397. We'll be going over the second and final night of the 2023 WWE Draft on tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw, right here, right now, 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hey wrestling fans, welcome to 360 Wrestling Fanatic. I am Lance Brock. Thank you for tuning in tonight, right here on Spreaker or wherever you are listening right now. And as I said at the top of the podcast, tonight we'll be going over the second night of the WWE Draft 2023, and tonight Raw kicks off just like last Friday night SmackDown did, with the King of Kings, Triple H. In our first round, we have Monday Night Raw drafting the SmackDown Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley, and Seth freaking Rollins. Friday night SmackDown drafts the WWE United States Champion Austin Theory and the Queen Charlotte Flair. Damage Control defeated the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez in a non-title match. Our second round of the draft, we see WWE Hall of Famers Booker T and Sharmell. SmackDown drafts the Usos and the LWO. Monday Night Raw drafts the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Champions Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and the Judgment Day Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio. Of course, that means that Dominic and his father Rey Mysterio are now on separate shows. Tag team action up next. Braun Strowman and Ricochet take on the Alpha Academy. And then our next round, we see the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels and Adam Pearce. But before they can do the draft picks, they are interrupted by the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. He makes his way down to the ring. Pearce tries to talk him out of doing this, brings out some security, and then Brock tells him it's going to take more guys than that. So he brings out more. And while Lesnar is distracted by all the security, Cody Rhodes comes from behind from the crowd and attacks Lesnar. And when we come back, Adam Pearce is gone, so Shawn Michaels just does the two picks by himself. Friday Night SmackDown gets Asuka and the Brawling Brutes. Monday Night Raw gets the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, which, just real quick, I want to say I'm not sure why they were drafted, since the Women's Tag Team Champions have always been on both shows anyway, unless they're making a change to that, where maybe they're going to be only on one show, the titles anyway, but who knows, we'll just have to wait and see. And also, the New Day, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. Big E was not mentioned, I'm guessing because as of right now it doesn't look like he'll be coming back anytime soon from that serious injury he has suffered. And I've mentioned this on 360 Wrestling Fanatic recently, that Big E is now the MC for the Michigan Panthers football team. I think it's is it USFL, that league? If you watch SmackDown every Friday night on Fox, you probably see the commercials. I know Fox shows the games of that league. I want to say it's the USFL, I think. And then also the other night I saw where Big E was at Comerica Park throwing out the first pitch at the Tigers game. And next we have Eric Bischoff and Rob Van Dam. Raw drafts Trish Stratus and the tag team of Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Friday Night SmackDown drafts Karrion Kross and L.A. Knight. Next up we have Miz TV, and the Miz's guest is Shinsuke Nakamura, and ends up turning into some tiny balls jokes, and then that's about it. Omos wins a squash match real quick, and then our next round we have Road Dogg, Jesse James, and Molly Holly come out. Monday Night Raw picks Braun Strowman and Ricochet and Bronson Reed. For SmackDown, they pick Shotzi Blackheart and from NXT, Pretty Deadly. Our next round, Raw picks the Alpha Academy, and also from NXT, Katina Chance and Kaden Carter. SmackDown in this round gets Rick Boogs and Cameron Grimes from NXT. So that was the draft that was on Monday Night Raw tonight, and the draft continued over on Peacock and the WWE Network with Raw Talk. And here's going to Monday Night Raw. Johnny Gargano, Dana Brooke, Nikki Cross, the Los Lotharios, Akira Tozawa, Piper Niven, Xia Li, Tegan Knox, Emma, and Riddick Moss, the former Madcap Moss, Jinder Mahal, Veer Sangha, Odyssey Jones, and Grayson Waller, all from NXT going to Raw. SmackDown, they only got Tamina Snuka on Raw Talk, and free agents Baron Corbin, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, Zion Quinn, and Elias. So that was the extra part of the draft, I guess you could say, that took place on Raw Talk tonight. So that concludes the 2023 edition of the WWE Draft. And this Saturday night, we have Backlash live from San Juan, Puerto Rico. But that is not the only action from Puerto Rico. Before Saturday, Friday night, SmackDown will be live from Puerto Rico as well. And before I wrap up this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, I know this is a little short and going through it quick. I apologize, but to get into some news real quick, I saw during Raw tonight that Tessa Blanchard has signed with XPW, which Tessa Blanchard, I think she's done some shows, but she hasn't really been too active as of late, not in any major promotions since her run in Impact Wrestling, where she won the Impact World title at one time from Sami Callihan, and there was some talk and speculation after she left Impact about maybe her signing with AEW, but that never happened, and now she has signed with XPW. I'm not really too surprised about her getting signed by another promotion, but XPW is not the one I would say I was expecting her to sign with. But she is now in XPW. Hopefully she will have a good run there. Also, real quick, just some wrestling podcast news real quick. And that is Mike McGuire is no longer a part of Sunday night's main event. This week, last night's episode of Sunday night's main event was hosted by Boris Aguilar, and now Mike McGuire on his own has his own podcast, McGuire on Wrestling, which I definitely recommend checking out. I'm a big fan of Mike McGuire. For the last couple years or so, he took over for Jason Agnew, hosting Sunday night's main event, the main flagship radio show, and also on the SNME Patreon, Tuesday Morning Cooked, which is a Raw recap show. And now, unfortunately, nothing against Sunday night's main event, but I've already talked about Dan Ravansky leaving SNME, and Joe Aguinaldo, as well the host of All Elite Weekly, their Dynamite recap show, which I was a big fan of, and now Mike McGuire also exiting SNME, which those were my favorite shows actually, and my favorite host on Sunday night's main event. I'm not saying I'm not going to listen to Sunday night's main event anymore, but now my favorite hosts from there are gone, and I'm definitely going to be listening to Mike McGuire on his own now, McGuire on Wrestling podcast, which will feature Dave Meltzer each week with the Wrestling Observer Extra. I definitely recommend checking it out. Mike McGuire, very good at the wrestling podcast game, I guess you could call it. So check it out wherever you listen to your podcasts, McGuire on Wrestling. And that's all for tonight's episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. I know I kept it kind of quick. I went through it real quick, but hopefully the next episodes of 360 Wrestling 360 Wrestling Fanatic will be longer. And we'll be back tomorrow with the Tuesday morning episode of GMWF. Hope everyone had a great Monday today. Hope everyone enjoyed the final night of the WWE Draft. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.